Hello and welcome to Clutch Talk 101. I will be doing the power rankings today for week 8. Uh Pretty up and down year this year, and a lot of things haven't gone my way. A lot of things have gone with my sleeper predictions and stuff like that. A lot of unexpected, but a lot of expected as well. Um I'm going to start from the top to the bottom, starting from number 1, and be sure to subscribe to my YouTube channel, Clutch Talk 101, and follow me on Twitter, Clutch Talk 101 as well. That's what keeps my content going. It's what I need to do to make a living out of what I'm doing right now. This has been a lifelong passion of mine, uh, to talk about sports for a living. So, um, yeah, go ahead and subscribe. Click that red button on the bottom and subscribe. Number 1, I got the Buffalo Bills. The Buffalo Bills have been probably the most dominant team this year, just because their defense is like top 5 or 6, and Josh Allen is at the same level of QB play as Patrick Mahomes. Stephon Diggs has put this team on another level. I feel like Josh Allen wouldn't have reached this pinnacle without Stephon Diggs, but they've just been the most dominant team this year. Number 2, I got the Kansas City Chiefs. Uh, I think by the end of the year they'll be probably the AFC favorites. Um, I just think they're the more impressive team. Uh, the way Patrick Mahomes has been able to dominate without Tyreek, um, has been very surprising. And all his comebacks that he's made throughout his career, all his accolades that he's never had to overcome what he's overcoming right now. And he is impressing me. Number 3, I got the Philadelphia Eagles. Uh, Philadelphia is just the most complete team, I think. They got running game, 2 great receivers, great young defense, and an emerging quarterback, good offensive line, and a good coach. I think they're the most complete all around team. They aren't specifically dominant on any level, but they're really good at each level of defense and each level of their offense. Number 4, I got the Cincinnati Bengals. Cincinnati is a probably a reach, but I'm doing it based on how I feel how they're going to what this win against the Falcons means for them. Uh, I know it's just the Falcons, but they look like right now how they looked when they were making that playoff run and how they were in the playoffs. They look like the most scary wide receiving core, the most explosive offense. Their defense is solid enough to keep them in games, at least as of recent. I think Joe Burrow's flipped the switch, and I think that they're going to turn their season around. I think they're going to be a major threat in the AFC this year. Number 5, I got the New York Jets. The Jets are really impressing me this year. They just outclassed the Broncos. They just outclassed the Packers. Now I know those teams are on the downtick, but man, their running game and their young defense and their receivers have been more impressive than what I thought they would be. Um, and Zach Wilson has been solid enough for them to get these wins. Uh, I don't think there'll be any threat in the future just because they just lost Brees Hall, but as of right now, they're number 5. Number 6, I got the New York Giants. I don't have the Giants ahead of the Jets because the Jets have just completely owned their games. The Giants, you can look at all the stats saying that they're lucky, or all the people saying that they've just been lucky. You don't even have to do that. Just watch their games and see how they have turned out, and see all the calls that they're getting. See, they've been very lucky every game, and I've been paying attention to them quite a bit this year. They got Coach of the Year right now, a below average quarterback, a top 3 running back, and a solid defense. I don't put Yeah, Saquon is carrying the team on offense, but think of the dominant running back years in the past. AP's 2,000 yards, LT the year he won the MVP, uh, even Chris Johnson's 2,000 yards, or Le'Veon Bell, that year he had like 18, 20, 18 or 19, 20 touchdowns, something like that. This year isn't as good as those years. He's having a great year, but it's not one of those years. So I don't put that all on Saquon. Yeah, he's doing a great job. He's doing what a top 10 running back pick should be doing. But I don't think he's the reason for their success. I think Brian Daboll and that defense has got them locked in. And Daniel Jones hasn't made mistakes. That's the one good thing that Daniel Jones has done this year. He's not making mistakes. Number 7, I got the Minnesota Vikings. I'll probably have them in that range all throughout the year, no matter what their record is, unless they start losing a bunch of games. I like their coach, Kirk Cousins. Obviously, we discussed all year. He's not doesn't win the big games, but he'll win the games that mean less. And he's done the same thing his entire career. I love Justin Jefferson. I love Dalvin Cook, and Cook, Jefferson, and their coach are the reasons why I have them in the top 10 right now, because that coach can make up schemes for Cook and JJ to just go off, and I think that's a pretty unstoppable thing when they're going off. Number 8, the Miami Dolphins. I got the Miami Dolphins this high because I think Tua makes them a super formidable force. I think that Tua, if he wasn't out those 3, 4 games, I think he would have had a shot at MVP this year. Um, I think that highly of him. He impacts the team. That I mean, look at how good they looked last week against the Steelers, and then look how they looked without Tua every week. I mean, they looked lost. Like they were just trying to find ways to give the ball to their playmakers, and they just couldn't get the ball there even. So Tua in there makes a huge difference. They definitely can make a wild card run and a playoff push this year for sure with Tua in there. If he doesn't get hurt, watch out for the Dolphins. Um, Number 9, I got the Dallas Cowboys. Yeah, and I don't think they're as impressive with Dak in there. I think Dak. I know they beat him 24-6, but it was 10-6 late, and they got lucky with that goal line fumble by Jamal Williams. I think that the Cowboys are really good on defense. They have really good weapons, but I think Dak tries to like put it on his back too much. I think he tries to play hero ball too much, and he just doesn't look as like dialed in as Cooper Rush did. Cooper Rush looked like he was dialed into like what's happening in the play, who's your first and second read. Like he looked like he was studying, like he just knew what to do. Dak goes out there and just relies on his skill set, I feel, and it's just a lot less impressive when he's in there. Yeah, they'll go to the playoffs probably because they have a solid record right now and they have a good team. But with Dak in there, they're one and done. I He doesn't take him over the top. He really doesn't. He had a good rookie year. He had a really good rookie year when they had an all-time offensive line, really good receivers, and their running back was a rookie. So times have changed, and he doesn't uplift that team. Number 10, I got the Seattle Seahawks. I was very tempted to move them up higher because their running game is just unbelievable. I love Kenneth Walker. Geno Smith is holding down the fort. He's not making stupid mistakes. He's actually getting the ball to his receivers, which I thought he would have trouble with this year. He's moving the ball enough. Their defense is playing not like trash. I feel like they're middle of the pack kind of defense. So I think they have a really, really good team. I don't really like because Gino is not the problem if they're losing. I feel like their problem is their defense. If they are going to lose games like they lost against the Saints, letting up 39 points was ridiculous against a really bad Saints offense. But Taysom Hill, obviously that was a weakness of theirs. But I really like Seattle going forward. Their running game is just awesome. Number 11, I got the Tennessee Titans. I think that when healthy, they are one of the top 4 teams in the AFC. I really do. I think that like last year they were the number 1 seed, and this year they were off for a little bit because Derrick Henry was hurt. Now he's back, and they just seem unstoppable to me when they have that running game going. Um, that's a lot of teams' kryptonite. Like a tough defense, tough uh, run heavy offense. That really um, it really can make a team like dissolve like in a game, like really look like a shell of themselves. Um, Number 12, I got the Baltimore Ravens. The Baltimore Ravens are just kind of underachieving this year. They've lost a lot. I know they won, but they have really lost a lot of games by just a few points, and I feel like that's lack of leadership. I feel like it's lack of weapons that Lamar has. I feel like Lamar is like basically doing it by himself. They haven't impressed me. I mean, Lamar has impressed me individually, but as a team, they really have not impressed me this year. They've given up too many late leads. Number 13, I got the Green Bay Packers. Um, I know they just are coming off a loss again against the Commanders, but it's hard for me to put them below like 16. Like, because I just know that that team is better than what they're playing. I feel a lot of it is chemistry. Their defense has been just a shell of themselves too. They were playing really good in the beginning of the year, and now they're playing like they don't have any hope. Um, if the Packers get their running game going, I've been saying it all year. If the Packers just got their two running backs rolling, they would be a super formidable threat. Then that would open things up for Rodgers. It would open things up for the receivers and give them more confidence. Uh, Number 14, I got the Arizona Cardinals. Um, they, I think, are a legit threat with DeAndre Hopkins in there. DeAndre Hopkins, when he was in there last year, they were the number one seed at one point. They were, I believe, 7-1. When they're healthy with DeAndre Hopkins in there, they are a top four NFC team. But their kryptonite has been having to go to other people. And when someone shuts down DeAndre Hopkins, which is hard to do, when someone shuts him down, what's Kyler going to do? Is he going to make mistakes or is he going to make a play? It's kind of unpredictable. Um, I'm a Kyler Murray fan, like I've been saying, but he still needs to develop his game a little bit. The fact that you're throwing, I think it was 14 times to your receiver that just came off a 6 game suspension shows me that you pretty much only know how to throw to him. Uh, Number 15, I got the San Francisco 49ers. 15, I got the San Francisco 49ers. Uh, I know they're coming off a big loss against the Chiefs, but I still think they are, like I said about the Tennessee Titans, they're a kryptonite to a lot of teams. Tough defense, usually. They got smoked by the Chiefs, but the Chiefs are the Chiefs, man. Uh, the Niners, I think Jimmy G is a lot better than what people give him credit for. He's thrown for 300 yards these past 2 games, but I think they like even if they get in a wild card, they're probably going to get a playoff win or two at the very least, just because a lot of these top teams' is kryptonite is a tough defense and a good running game. Number 16, I got the New England Patriots. I know they're coming off a really bad loss to the Chicago Bears, but I just think that they got behind early. They shouldn't have made that switch that early either. I was a big Bailey Zappi fan, but they shouldn't have done that to Mac that early. I feel like that threw off the game. Um, they weren't able to involve their running game as much as they could. I love Ramondre Stevenson and I love Damian Harris. I think they have one of the best 1-2 punches at running back, but they just got to beat early, and that's what killed them. And then they just kind of were frantic from then on out. Um, but they can beat good teams as well, especially with Bailey Zappi in there, not with Mac Jones in there. Just quit putting him in there. Quit doing that. Number 17, I got the Los Angeles Rams. Uh, I think they're I think the two LA teams are the biggest disappointments this year. Matt Stafford playing hurt the entire year. Cooper Kupp being the only weapon they have on that offense. Getting rid of OBJ, getting rid of Von Miller, really, they were the glue of the offense and the defense, I feel like, last year in their playoff run. And they just have not shown any, and nobody's stepping up. Their running game is trash. They have one receiver, and then they have two individual players, Aaron Donald and Jalen Ramsey. That's it. No depth. I just feel like they're kind of screwed. I don't see them improving. Usually a team that won the Super Bowl last year, and I see them turn it on, and I'm like, oh, okay, there it is. Like the Bengals. Not with the Rams. The Rams did that to the Panthers 2 weeks ago. I don't, I'm not holding out hope for the Los Angeles Rams. Sorry. Um, Number 18, I got the Tampa Bay Buccaneers. Um, Coming off the worst loss of Tom Brady's career, probably his lowest, worst, well, at the very least, his worst loss while he's been with the Bucks, but one of the worst losses of his career. Uh, he looked like a shell of himself. He couldn't. He kept just going to Mike Evans over and over and over, and Mike Evans had a couple drops. They just looked lost out there. I don't know if it's Tom Brady's leadership. I don't know if it's their offensive line being banged up, why they have zero offensive run game. I don't know what's going on in their defense. Their defense let the Panthers score 21 points, probably the worst offense in the league. So they got some stuff to figure out, but I can't put them at the bottom of the barrel with Tom Brady there until they get like six losses. Or seven. I can't do that. He's the most clutch quarterback of all time. He's the GOAT. I can't disrespect him like that this early. I know it's week 8, it's middle of the year, but he's been in the league 20 some years, made 10 Super Bowls. Have a little patience for that. Number 19, I got the Atlanta Falcons. I think they're a really good team. I think they got a great coach. They're in every one of their games except the last game they got blown out by the Bengals, obviously. But I just think they're outclassed. The Bengals have way more talent. Falcons are just kind of young and growing right now. Don't like Mariota. I really don't. That's what will happen with Mariota in there. Like even if your team is on like a run, like to make a run late, he's not going to take you to that next level. Desmond Ritter's the type of quarterback that could. I feel like if they put him in there, that he would help them a lot. But maybe they're just waiting this year out, and hopefully he'll be ready by next year. But I got faith in Desmond Ritter just because that Falcons team is a good squad. Number 20, I got the Washington Commanders. Coming off a win against the Packers, very impressive. I think that the move to Heineke was a little too late. I think they should have done that after week like 4. Taylor Heineke's kind of like a poor man's Derek Carr. He's an overachiever. He doesn't have that greatest skill set, but he's clutch, and he will fight for your team. He's not overly athletic, but he has a lot of heart, so he will lay it out for you. Um, I like Taylor Heineke. They give the Commanders a better shot than Carson Wentz for sure. They finally got their wide receiver. I want to say Curtis Samuel, but I know Terry McLaurin. They finally got Terry McLaurin involved, and he looked great. Like that's how Terry McLaurin should look every week. That's how good of a receiver he is, but not with when you have bad quarterback play. Number 21, I got the Indianapolis Colts. I think they're finding a rhythm a little bit, but obviously Matt Ryan getting benched is kind of throwing a wrench into it. I think they had a good win a couple weeks ago, but they obviously lost to the Tennessee Titans. Um, Jonathan Taylor though is getting back into the lineup. I'm not saying they're going to make the playoffs or have a winning record or anything, but they're a tough play. If you have at least halfway competent quarterback in there, they're a tough play. They got a good squad. Jonathan Taylor, if he turns it up more and more, I think that he's been running. He ran 10 times for 50 yards or something like that against the Titans. I mean, you got to involve him more. I feel like a lot of it's on the coach too. Number 22, the Los Angeles Chargers. Last week, coming off a win against the Broncos. They were just went to overtime. Nobody was scoring. Nobody was moving the ball. Three and out. Both teams, I think both had two three and outs. And Broncos had a muffed punt, and they get muffed punt. They kick it. They win. Uh, they did that, so they should have tied the Broncos, who are 2-5. and they should have lost to the Browns, with the Browns missing a 50-yard field goal to lose the game when the coach went for it on fourth down. The Chargers are not good. I think Justin Herbert's massively overrated. I think people calling him for MVP was in insane to me. Yeah, he has great skills. He has great skills. Does he win? The answer is no. Look at his record. So I just I even saw people picking the Chargers for the Super Bowl. Have the Chargers ever won a Super Bowl? The answer is no. Have the Chargers always had talent? Yes. Have they always had like top tier talent? Yes. Back in the day with Rivers, LT, Antonio Gates, Vincent Jackson, Keenan Allen, Michael Turner. I mean, they've had so many good players. Sean Merriman. They've had so many good players and coaches, and they could just never win it. I don't understand the confidence in the Chargers. I never will, but I got them at 22. 23, the Jacksonville Jaguars. I was kind of high on them at the beginning of the year. I just don't think they have it. I don't think they have enough firepower, and I just don't think that they got enough people on their roster to make any significant moves. Trevor Lawrence has impressed me, but I just don't think that they have the team yet. I think they need to have a lot of roster building to do. Number 24, I got the Las Vegas Raiders. Um, very impressive these last couple weeks, but I gotta wait to see a little bit. The way they started. They looked like they were going to be a bottom three team in the league. Yes, they're starting to find it, and I'm being patient with them because with a defense that bad, it's hard to say what games they can win. Uh, you have a B plus offense, not like an A plus Chiefs offense or an A Buffalo offense or an A minus Philadelphia or Cincinnati offense. You have about a B plus offense, and you have about a D minus defense. That's scary to me. So, I mean, I'll wait. I will put them accordingly. They are 2-4 right now, so yes, they look good their last 2 weeks, but pump the brakes because that defense is just ugh. Um, Number 25, I got the Denver Broncos. They're the complete opposite of the Las Vegas Raiders, coming off a loss to the Jets where they looked like they were moving the ball early, and then all of a sudden, Rippon just looked stagnant. He looked fired up that first quarter and ready to play, making good throws, and then all of a sudden he just flipped the switch off. Um, yeah, like I said, they're the opposite of the Raiders. They're a top, I think, five defense, number one or two in pass defense, and they're like in the bottom five or six in offense. Um, it's hard to score points, but at least see, the thing is about having a good defense is that you're going to be in every game. You might not win all of them, but at least you'll have a shot. I'd rather have a bad defense, I mean a good defense and a bad offense than a good offense and a bad defense. I feel like your chances are a lot better of winning when you have a bad offense, good defense, just because all the games are going to be close. Um, but I don't think the Broncos are doing anything. I don't think they're turning their season around by any means, but I don't think they'll have like 4 wins. I think they'll probably have 6 or 7 or 8, maybe. Um, but it's just a lost cause this year with Russ flopping like the way he did. Tim Patrick was out week before week one, IR. Javante Williams, our best skill player, IR. Our starting left tackle, Garrett Bowles, IR. Our stud defensive end to go opposite of Bradley Chubb, IR, who was doing really good. Um, and now I'm hearing trade rumors about Bradley Chubb. If they do that, I'm seriously just I'm lost. I don't know what they're doing. I don't know if they shouldn't be drafting for the future because you got a 33-year-old quarterback who still can't figure it out. So I mean, what why are you trading players? Why we're not in rebuild mode. The point of doing what you're doing right now is to keep as many skill players as you can on your roster, as many veterans as you can on your roster so you can make a playoff run. Just because you have one season out the window doesn't mean you get rid of your best young defensive player besides your Sertan. Sertan and Shoaib have been the glue of that defense. That would be the dumbest move they could possibly do. Number 26, I got the Cleveland Browns. Um, man, I had them doing pretty solid in the beginning with Jacoby Brissett. He was looking like he could manage games in the beginning of the year, but it's with teams taking leads late or early leads, excuse me. Um, it's been hard for them to battle back. Brissett can't put the team on his back now. If his team's rolling in the beginning, like few good throws here and there, and with Chubb just being the Mokoloto that he is, and their defense playing solid. Yeah, when they're in games, Jacoby Brissett's good, but when they're playing from behind, they're not very formidable. Uh, 27, I got the New Orleans Saints. Another team. They're kind of like the Falcons. They got a great squad. They got great defense. They got good receivers. Pretty young, um, but quarterback. I would figure that the New Orleans Saints this year are going to draft a quarterback. If they did, I feel like they would be an instant contender. I really like their running game. I really like Michael Thomas and Chris Olave. I know Thomas has been injured the whole year, but I think Michael Thomas is one of those players that's not going to play if they're don't have a chance. I don't think he wants to risk his career, which I don't blame him. But if I was a Saints fan, I'd be pretty upset. 28 Chicago Bears. Here's a team I've been really paying attention to this year. I live near Chicago, so I got a lot of Bears fans around me. And they really impressed me against the Patriots. Justin Fields can really put that team on his back. And if they get that running game, they kind of are like the Ravens. They got like very limited weapons, and they just depend on the quarterback running and the running game going. Um, Now Chicago's defense was a big help that game. They're really impressing me recently. I feel like that's the reason why they've been somewhat formidable recently is because of their defense has been keeping them in games, and they force turnovers, they get sacks. I really like what they do. That you could see them moving up my power ranking. I mean, that's a soft 28. That I should probably have them a little higher, but just because of how they played, I mean, they just lost to the Commanders. I know they should have won that game, but you lost to the Commanders, and the other losses they've had this year, I just can't. But the Chicago Bears, watch out. I really do think that I don't think they'll make a wild card run, but there'll be a few weeks where you're like, whoa, they beat who? Like, I really think they can this year. No, number 29, disappointing. Pittsburgh Steelers. I'm not a Pittsburgh Steelers fan, but I am a Kenny Pickett fan. I think he's a great fit for the franchise. But he was very unimpressive against Miami. Um, I feel like the Pittsburgh's O line is what's holding that entire team up. Their defense is banged up because I feel like they were playing so dang hard, and that's all they had. Especially with when Mitch Trubisky was in there, I feel like that's all you had was your defense. And now, when Kenny Pickett comes in there, their defense is all hobbled. Minka Fitzpatrick is back, but um, I think that the Pittsburgh Steelers, when healthy, are really good. I like their young receivers. Um, I think that Najee's a really good running back. I think Najee is a great running back. It's their offensive line. It's kind of like a Joe Mixon deal where the Joe Mixon can't run because of their offensive line. He's a great running back, but he can't run. Same with Pittsburgh. They just can't run. And that does not open things up for Kenny Pickett, and he does not look like he's playing very well at all. Uh, Number 30, I got the Carolina Panthers coming off a big win against Tampa. I think they're a completely lost cause. I think they're calling it, but I think that was a good morality win. I don't think Baker's going to come back in. I don't see it. Baker was just playing like so frantic and so erratic. Like I don't I just he's got to have something going on uh up here. I don't know what it is, but Baker's just I feel like he's done. I'm a Baker fan too. It hurts to say that, but PJ Walker got them a win against the Bucks, you know. So Panthers defense looked good. I think they've had a good defense all year. It's just their offense has been so awful that it's been very a painful team to watch this year. Houston Texans at number 31. I think the only bright spot of that entire team is Damian Pierce and Lovie Smith. Other than that, and Derek Stingley. Other than that, they need to get a quarterback. They need to quit playing. I like Davis Mills, but they need to quit playing games. They got to get receivers. They got to get a front seven. You got rid of J.J. Watt and all your great defenders that you had. So you got a lot of drafting to do. Number 32, the Detroit Lions. They are my second favorite team, and I did not want to have a week where they were number 32, but they are 32. You are 10 down 10-6 in Dallas, like big time trap game, like a game that you could easily win, and you fumble on the goal line. You've been and then you give up the game all the way down to 24-6. Like boom, boom, they just scored right away. They just took advantage of your turnovers. Um, Defense, besides Aiden Hutchinson, that defense is so bad. Ever since I've been watching football since 1999, the Detroit Lions have their Achilles heel has always been their secondary. Always. People can just pass all over them. I don't know what it is. They've had decent players in the past, but like they haven't had any studs. I think they really gotta invest in some corners this year. Like they had so many chances to pick Malik Willis. They had chances to pick Sauce Gardner. Yeah, Aiden Hutchinson is a good fit for Michigan. I get it, but there were so many other players they could have picked that really like even Jordan Davis. Like they just need a tough entity on that defense, and they don't have it. Aiden Hutchinson can't do it by himself. I mean, that's like having an A like let's say it's like an A plus A defender, uh, and then your help is like a D minus. It's like it evens out to be like a C, and your whole defense is just screwed because you have one good position and the other one's crap. So you can't compensate for one for the other. Detroit has a lot of work to do, but they've also been super hobbled this year. So you know, next year maybe, but you got to keep the coach. MCDC is the man. That sums up my power rankings this week. Comment below and tell me what you think. Again, please subscribe. Please subscribe, subscribe, subscribe. Hit that red button right below the video. Y'all have a good day.